Bleed India with 1,000 cuts. The age-old Pakistani military doctrine is still the country's modus operandi, and the recent Khalistani protests are an example of the Pakistani deep state hard at work. Pakistan, a country inherently inclined towards the manifestations of radicalism, where religious fanatics rule the roost, is attempting to sow unrest and discord in India by activating its agents and stooges in the West. Khalistanis outside of India, suffering a diminished interest for their cause, squeezing of their funds, and the steady economic decline of their masters in Pakistan, are now on a now or never mission. Pakistan's desperate bids to revive the secessionist Khalistan movement in India have, however, gathered no real or noticeable traction, with brave, patriotic Punjabis pushing back against any such intentions.
Whatever you're seeing in media that there's a Khalistan movement going on outside in India, in America, in Canada, this is all hyped up.
Join us as we discuss why Pakistan, a country on the cusp of failure on all fronts, is relentless in its conspiracies and attacks against India, and why, despite their best nefarious efforts, is bound to fail again and again. In a tremendous show of solidarity, hundreds of people gathered in different cities around the world, chanting pro-India slogans. They also called out Pakistan's insidious plans of exploiting gullible Sikh youths under the pretext of Khalistan, to further its agenda of labeling India with the tag that Pakistan itself is oft accused of, a state against minorities. These events were organized at the heels of the unrestrained display of hooliganism by paid Khalistani thugs who attacked several Indian missions in different cities of Europe and the United States of America.
Whatever you're seeing in media that there's a Khalistan movement going on outside in India, in America, in Canada, this is all hyped up. There's more than 1 million Sikhs who live in North America. And out of that, only 50 show up outside Indian embassy to protest. And if you combine them, they're not more than 250 people. And this is like jeopardizing the whole Sikh community in India and in outside India who love India and who support India and who love Punjab.
The Khalistani movement, which seeks a separate Sikh homeland in the sovereign Indian state of Punjab, has re-emerged after successive military operations in the 1980s suppressed the movement from getting further traction. In what appeared to be the well-coordinated execution of a nefarious plan, a trained Khalistani, Amritpal Singh, descended on Indian soil last September, allegedly after his successful indoctrination by Pakistan's inter-services intelligence in the later tenure of his over a decade-long stint in Dubai. The self-styled preacher and leader of Waris Punjab, a secessionist group, quickly ascended the infamy ladder thanks to his proclivity for rabble rousing and his anti-India speeches.
He can speak to social media. He's very pleasant on TV or cameras, and this really sells. So you look at his initial popularity, it was all on Clubhouse. Right, he was coming on Clubhouse, he was making these points, he was very articulate in Punjabi, he could understand the nuance and the jargon, the sort of new political jargon, that decolonialization, privilege, even woke talk. He understood that.
Currently, Amritpal Singh is at large. Amritpal has been in hiding since Indian agencies launched an operation to arrest him, following his purported role in anti-India activities. Indian agencies have already arrested dozens of his aides, associates, and financiers. This turned out to be a major setback for the ambitions of Khalistani operators who are based out of Pakistan, as their plans were nipped in the bud. Their concepts, ideas, and agendas failed to resonate with the masses in Punjab. The international Khalistani ecosystem wanted a repeat of the 1980s, when thousands of innocent Indians in Indian Punjab lost their lives to Pakistan-backed Khalistan terrorism. Unnerved by India's proactive actions, Khalistanis quickly turned to their propaganda armies in Europe, Canada, and the United States. However, the Khalistani attacks on embassies outside of India instead united individuals and groups within India. Jaswant Singh Tekadar, a former separatist himself, says that the Khalistani plans will never succeed as they are not a reflection of an Indian Sikh's mindset, but the handiwork of Pakistan's ISI in liaison with ambitious European, Canadian, and American politicians.
ਜਿਹੜੇ ਰੈਫਰੈਂਡਮ ਦੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੋ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਵਾਲੇ ਤੇ ਮੰਗਦੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਉਹ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਆ ਇੱਕ 2020 ਸੰਸਥਾ ਵਾ ਜਿਹੜੀ ISI ਦੇ ਕਹਿਣ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਉਹ ਰੈਫਰੈਂਡਮ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਦੀ ਆ ਤੇ ਰੈਫਰੈਂਡਮ ਇਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਕਿ ਇੰਡੀਅਨ ਪਾਸਪੋਰਟ ਹੋਲਡਰ ਜਾਂ ਇੰਡੀਅਨ ਸਿਟੀਜ਼ਨ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਤਾਂ ਕਰਨਾ ਜਾਇਜ਼ ਆ ਜੇ ਉਹ ਮੰਗ ਕਰਨ ਇਹ ਗੱਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਉਹਦੇ 'ਚ ਕੈਨੇਡੀਅਨ ਅਮਰੀਕਨ ਜਾਂ ਆਸਟ੍ਰੇਲੀਅਨ ਜਾਂ ਬ੍ਰਿਟਿਸ਼ ਲੋਕ ਵੋਟ ਪਾਉਣ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਤਾਂ ਕੋਈ ਹੱਕ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ.
The Indian state has never treated Sikhs as second to anyone. Irrespective of hues and ideologies of different governments, Sikhs have enjoyed all the benefits accorded to a minority, as enshrined in the Indian constitution. The Sikh-dominated state of Punjab has remained one of the most prosperous states of the country for the majority of India's 70-year history as an independent nation. One must be incredibly ignorant to peddle or believe the narrative that Sikhs have been marginalized in India or have not received what they deserve. On the other side, Sikh valor is as inherent to India as any of the country's other innate characteristics. Sikhs' contributions to Indian growth across sectors, especially in India's mighty military, has been exemplary.
सिखों जैसा देशभक्त हो नहीं सकता कोई, क्योंकि जहाँ से सिक्खी निकली है हमारे गुरुओं ने, गुरु अर्जन देव जी ने, गुरु तेग बहादुर जी ने, गुरु गोबिंद सिंह जी ने बलिदान दिए, सारे परिवार निशावर कर दिए इस देश में धर्म को बचाने के लिए, इस देश की आस्था को बचाने के लिए। और जितनी कुर्बानियाँ देश आज़ाद करवाने के लिए हुई हैं उसमें से सबसे ज़्यादा कुर्बानियाँ, मोर देन 70% कुर्बानियाँ सिखों ने दी। जो फांसियाँ हुई हैं उसमें से सबसे ज़्यादा फांसियाँ सिखों ने दी हैं। ये तिरंगे की शान बनाने के लिए सिखों ने सबसे ज़्यादा खून बहाया है। और अगर आज कोई इंसान उस तिरंगे का अपमान करता है तो मैं समझता हूँ कि हमारे गुरुओं की शहादतों का अपमान है। हमारे जो लोगों ने कुर्बानियाँ दी हैं, 70% से ज़्यादा शहादतें फांसी के रस्से चूमे हैं, उसका अपमान करता है। तो मैं समझता हूँ कि सिख जो हैं वो इस देश का इंटीग्रल पार्ट हैं। ये देश हमारा है और हम किसी भी कीमत पे ऐसी चीज़ों को सपोर्ट नहीं कर सकते।
The Khalistan movement's agenda is both farcical and questionable. Khalistani secessionists have conveniently ignored that Pakistan controls more territory of the erstwhile Punjab province than India. Sikh shrines such as Gurdwara Panja Sahib, Nankana Sahib, and Kartarpur Sahib are in Pakistan. Khalistani propagators have been trying to feed false histories and their versions of contemporary India to the section of youth they want to brainwash. If there is one country in which Khalistanis should be claiming separate territory, it is Pakistan. Why has this demand never arisen? Because the entire Khalistani separatist movement is staged and funded by Pakistan itself. There is much evidence available in public discourse to corroborate Pakistani involvement, from the 1970s and 1980s to present, and from the then Khalistani secessionists to today's international groups such as Sikhs for Justice. These groups are associated with Pakistan. an economically crumbling country that has lost all 4 of its battles with India and is attempting to rely on its proxies in other parts of the world. While Pakistan's acts are known and manageable, a more worrisome trend that has emerged as of late is the silence of Western countries, despite the proliferation of Khalistani incidents on their soil.
Justin Trudeau's own rise within the party has been thanks to Khalistanis, and he has a vested interest in, keeping this entire Khalistan thing on the boil, because like all, base level identitarian politicians, which Trudeau's were probably the worst kind of, his political survival depends on feeding this.
It was, in fact, the British who first tried to drive a wedge between Sikhs and Hindus in India. Pakistan, which cannot face or defeat India through conventional warfare, capitalized on the opportunity to exploit any tensions between the two groups. The rise of Khalistani Jarnail Singh Bhindranwale in the 1980s was also a result of domestic political tussles. In the end, it was the Sikhs, Hindus, and the country that suffered. This has been Pakistan's greatest victory against India till date. However, the state capacity of both the provincial Punjab and the Indian government has grown enormously since then, and Delhi is able to quell any such anti-India movement quickly. Pakistan, a country where leaders buckle under pressure and give in to the deep state of the army's intimidation, will be well advised to abandon such proxy wars and to focus on their own issues. For India today is completely different from how it was in the 1980s. Pakistan and its ISI cannot make an Indian Sikh lose his or her faith in the country's establishment. Pakistan-backed Khalistani breakaway plans will never resonate with Indian Sikhs and will instead unite the country against their abhorrent neighbor.